Yo, what's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we got a brand new video. This time, still talking about Bitcoin. You can see right here the price is actually $38,760. Just shot up there. We're getting close to 39. We were actually over 39 for a bit when the Fed was talking, when Jerome Powell was talking, and there's a couple reasons for that. And big reason would be that Jerome Powell kind of was talking about inflation, saying it might not be transitory, it might be here to stay. We might see lasting effects of inflation on the economy, where prices of goods and things, I mean, obviously, like in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions and economists' thoughts, with businesses raising prices of things, they're not just going to lower their prices in a year because inflation's down. Those prices might stay that high. They might, stay up there. Chipotle raised prices. A lot of places, food restaurant places are raising prices. Shortages are really affecting that. But if we last this for a year and customers are paying those prices, then they probably won't make those prices lower again. They'll probably just sustain those prices and say, these are the new prices. And that's where Bitcoin can come in and kind of be the best savings technology for anyone who wants to save their money against inflation, not allow inflation to eat away at it. That's Bitcoin. One of Bitcoin's biggest pitches is being an inflation hedge. And with the Fed acknowledging that inflation might not be transitory or only transitory, that it might be here to stay with lasting effects, Bitcoin could be the answer to hedge against inflation, as well as increase purchasing power because of everything that's going on in the world with Bitcoin. And we're going to dive into that. There's quite a bit of stories here to talk about Bitcoin and see what's really going on, things that might have big impacts on Bitcoin overall. So first off, we can go back to this good old site, Datamish. It talks about the Bitcoin shorts and longs here. You can see the price almost 39,000. Things are going to be a little bit different on each site and exchange and everything, but we can see for the first time in a long time there's been a downtick of shorts. So we can go look at the shorts here. Basically from June 6th, we saw big spikes and a spike. I guess we had a little bit of a dip on like June 13th, but then another spike and spike to where we are right now, where we got to 25,000 Bitcoin that are shorted, like two off 25,000. But right now we're seeing it kind of downtrend just a little bit, but it has been the first time in a long time where we've seen these shorts actually go down in a day's period. For the last week or two, shorts have just been going up and up and up as the Bitcoin price climbed. So if we can see this price come back to 40,000, kind of rally there, get over the 41, get over those humps and those resistances, then we might see some of these shorts start to get either liquidated or they'll have to cover. I mean, we can look at this chart here, is the unhedged and hedged shorts. So you can see there's basically no hedged shorts, meaning they don't have Bitcoin to hedge against their short. So there's almost 25,000, well, right now, 24,848 unhedged shorts of Bitcoin. That is a lot. And this is Bitcoin. This isn't like $25,000. It's 25,000 Bitcoin. So we can do that right here. Just take it easy. 25,000 times this price they have here. That's almost $1 billion worth of shorts in Bitcoin. And if we see the price go up, if we see these numbers actually start to climb and the shorts have to cover, then we might see a pretty good short squeeze, which will help the price even more, skyrocket in the short term at least, where we could see that $50,000 relatively quickly. Maybe even if we see something massive, then pushing all-time highs, that would be pushing it a little bit, but definitely very shorted, suppressing the price a little bit here. And we've been fighting and has been doing a pretty decent job getting over 40, kind of sustaining 40 for a day, pushing over 41,000. It's been a battle, but I think even in the short term, we're seeing the bulls start to pull away, and the shorts. I mean, you can only short so much. They've been shorting and reshorting and reshorting and reshorting, and eventually you just can't keep shorting. You have to eventually either make a long and cover your shorts, or cash out of your short and take the profit. So we'll see what happens, but definitely the shorts kind of pushing the market, suppressing Bitcoin a little bit, at least in my opinion. I mean, you look from, you know, the beginning of the month, shorts were at, even unhedged, we'll just talk about 633 compared to now where we're almost 25,000. So I mean, you tell me if you think shorts are suppressing the market here a little bit. And we've got a couple tweets here from Bitcoin Archive, kind of interesting about Bitcoin. You can see SEC seeking additional comment on VanEck Bitcoin ETF. If a Bitcoin ETF is actually able to be passed, this is massive for Bitcoin. There will be such a heavy flow of money coming into Bitcoin that the price will skyrocket. And not only because of the money coming in from an ETF, but because there's so little Bitcoin, there's not enough to go around. And if the demand's so high, then there's just simply not enough Bitcoin to go around, and the price will have to skyrocket in order to at least allow people to buy in, just because there's not enough Bitcoin. We have actually seen this with gold when gold ETFs came out, where the price of gold just skyrocketed as soon as the ETFs launched. And I can't find a chart to kind of show that. I know I've seen one, I just can't find it, but gold price absolutely skyrocketed once ETFs came in, and people with a lot of money, the hedge funds and the institutions actually had that vehicle to invest in it. ETFs allow institutions a lot easier access to kind of put their money there, and that will bring a lot more money and a lot more people to the space, and will have a good effect on it. But seeing this tweet, obviously them seeking additional comment, hopefully it's a good thing. I think they're coming out on tomorrow will be the last time they'll be able to actually do something about it, either approve or deny this ETF. So we'll see what happens. Shortly they should have a decision on it. Hopefully they apply it or approve it, because there's so many ETFs of Bitcoin that have been passed in other countries, and ultimately the US is just falling behind by not having one. Another interesting thing here is General Motors came out. Their CEO said that they might start accepting Bitcoin if the customer's demand is there. I don't know, how big of a deal this is, because I doubt people are going to be spending their Bitcoin to buy a car. I just don't think people are going to do that. I mean, maybe very, very few who have tons of Bitcoin, but even then, why trade in an appreciating asset for a depreciating one? Doesn't really make sense to me. But good news to hear them talking about Bitcoin, at least. I don't think it's going to have that big of a deal on anything Bitcoin related. And from an Interest survey, you have 98% of hedge fund CFOs expect to invest in Bitcoin and crypto in the next 5 years. So this is pretty big. You can see the other tweet here talking the CFOs expect to hold about 7% of cash in Bitcoin and crypto within 5 years. So this is an article, June 2nd, this was published, which said hedge funds assets jumped to $4.07 trillion in June, which was a record. So they're at 4.07 trillion. So if we take that 4.07 trillion number and do 7%, then we'll be looking at $284.9 billion to be put into Bitcoin. So that would be quite a bit. Obviously, it wouldn't have a huge impact on the price, but you can assume they're talking about over a decade or over the next 5 years. So maybe the wealth grows. Maybe it's a $400 billion or $500 billion investment over that time, which then could be big for Bitcoin. That's almost doubling its market cap, so doubling its price, or adding more demand, so even more price action, because it's not all about just the market cap, but about the Bitcoin that's available to buy. So we'll see a lot of things there. But the hedge funds obviously turning around. People know you gotta hold Bitcoin. It's absolutely devastated the market in terms of beating it for the last decade. Already doing the same thing so far, 1 year into this decade. So people are just realizing you should probably have a little bit of Bitcoin. And then finally, Michael Saylor, the legend of Bitcoin, announces that he is going to, or MicroStrategy is going to launch at the market securities offering for flexibility to sell up to $1 billion of its Class A common stock over time. So, I wonder what he wants to use that money for. But this is just crazy. The amount of money he's pouring into Bitcoin and the actual conviction he has in it. And you can tell he knows, or he's been researching it and is very, knowledgeable about Bitcoin, knows what he's talking about, and has the conviction to back it up by putting as much money as possible into Bitcoin. And I mean, money talks and actions talk, and words are cheap. So, keep that in mind. But guys, that is pretty much the news for Bitcoin. The shorts kind of suppressing the price here. We'll take one more look at the price. Almost at 39,000. Hopefully we can get back to 40 relatively soon. But as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.